As Stephanie mentioned that today is a very good day here in Jakarta, Indonesia, but now we are connected to Indonesian diaspora in Perth, Australia to share about his Ramadan activity. And this is actually his first time fasting abroad, and will be celebrating Idul Fitri apart from the family. So, hello, Fabian Sheska.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us in this very morning. I believe that it's also still like 9 a.m. over there. So, how are you?
Feeling very sleepy, but I'm happy that you welcomed me on the show.
So, let's go to the first question. How do you adapt your sahur and iftar meals during Ramadan there in Perth, Western Australia? And do you prepare your own dishes for sahur and iftar? And also, do you prepare yourself to wake up for sahur?
Um, I do prepare myself a lot because the times are different and sahur is very early in the morning. And I find myself, thankfully, I am very easy to wake up, but I try and cook for myself because I would like to save as much money as possible. But I would also like to try to make Indonesian food, but I myself struggle to do so.
Fabian, I heard that this is your first time for Ramadan in Australia. So please let us know your experience, how different it is from being apart from your family, being away from your family.
Ramadan itself is not very different to Indonesia's because the Indonesian Muslim community is actually very big here. And there's also a Muslim community. So it's not that different because it's just a result of the melting pot of different cultures blending in together. And away from my family is, well, it's quite jarring.
that is quite jarring, it is. But how long do you typically spend like for preparing and engaging in communal prayer or Ramadan related gatherings there? Are there many activities that you can do with the Muslim community there in Perth?
For Ramadan, there's in my university at least, it's also hosted by the Western Australia Muslim community, where they host a daily iftar, and it is hosted at the University of Western Australia, and it is held daily, and everyone is invited, but mostly it's specifically for students as well. And I myself, though, do not attend Traweh very often because it is actually very late at night. It is at 9 o'clock. Comparatively to Indonesia, at least, it's quite late.
Right. Fabian, also as a student and being apart from your family, you also mentioned that you actually prepared or cooked your meals there. So please let us know, what do you cook actually for preparing your breakfasting?
Actually, yeah, I don't cook that many Indonesian dishes, like I said before, and it's a bit difficult for me to adapt here because I try and find halal ingredients as much as possible. And thankfully, there are halal grocers, and I do cook for myself a lot. I usually use chicken or the ones that are provided in the Muslim groceries.
So if we're talking about dishes and there are some specific Ramadan dishes, do you miss any specific Ramadan or iftar dishes from Indonesia that you cannot find there or you cannot cook there?
That is very, very, a very good question because I do miss a lot of the um, fried foods from Indonesia. I miss the pempek, tahu, although I can cook the tofu, I am not very good at it. I'm not very good at frying foods. And I also miss, well, the rice here comparatively to Indonesia is actually worse.
Oh,
Oh,
doesn't miss Indonesian cuisine food,
yeah.
right?
And how about martabak? You must be missing
Oh,
martabak
you
as
must be
well.
missing it a lot. Oh, by the way, what do you do?
Martabak is, yeah,
So,
very.
Fabian, tell us more on what do you normally do for ngabuburit? Like in Indonesia, normally people go going for shopping centers or going to hang with their friends in Indonesia. But what about in Perth, Australia?
Well, thankfully, I am also occupied by classes, so I at least have that. But in terms of just normally, well, sometimes I recently find myself watching movies a lot. I recently watched a movie in the theater, and sometimes I also call with my friends when they are free or at around 3 o'clock.
So that's one of the activities that you do during ngabuburit and to catch up with your friends and your families in Indonesia. How do you also manage to do it to keep in touch with your family and friends, especially during this Ramadan? Do you often do it like every day, like during iftar or sahur?
Well, I try to keep contact a lot because it's the time zone is not actually a significant difference. It is comparable to Bali's, so it's not very difficult for me, thankfully. But I usually communicate with them during iftar. My mom usually calls me at iftar, and I usually call my friends before buka if I'm not doing anything, if there are no social events happening around me.
Now, with a cultural difference there in Australia, we would like to know if you incorporate any local Ramadan there in Perth.
I myself do not because I don't exactly, it's kind of hard to define what local is because I can't really compare to what it is here because I see a little bit of how Indonesia celebrates their Ramadan here as well. But that's probably because most of the Muslim community is just a lot of different cultures from there are Saudi Arabians, there are Pakistanis, and so it's all just a melting pot of very different cultures, and it's hard to tell the difference.
So, if we're talking about challenges, especially this is your first year doing this fasting abroad and we'll be celebrating Eid al-Fitr away from your family for the first time, what do you think the challenges that you've been experiencing the most for these past weeks?
The biggest challenge is honestly a daily challenge, even without Ramadan, and that's finding the halal foods because even though there are a lot of restaurants that provide them, there are also ingredients that are usually halal in Indonesia, but I have to take in special considerations here. And the only halal or Muslim owned grocers are at least 50 minutes away from me.
Okay. And do you find it challenging actually to kind of like explain to your friends or colleagues there who don't really know that you are currently fasting or in Ramadan?
Well, I don't really find it difficult. Recently, actually, in one of my classes, we had an activity where we had to use chocolate bars as a analogy, and unfortunately, I could not eat the chocolate bar during that day, so I had to give it to one of my colleagues, and they were like, "Why can't you just eat it?" So I had to explain to them because, to me at least, I don't necessarily look Muslim.
Right. All right.
So, what are your plan later on Eid al-Fitr?
Um, Minimal plans. I don't really have any plans right now. I just do everything that's needed during Idul Fitri, and I'll just do that at least.
Well, at least if you get a THR later, it will go straight to your saving accounts.
Good. Thank you.
Well, okay. Thank you so much, Fabienne, for joining us on Starting Point today.
Thank you, Fabienne, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck with your study and happy Ramadan.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day to the both of you too.